So thank you for joining today's special mastery and skills call. We are almost 1 month into our fourth quarter, and we know that what we do right now in this quarter is going to impact how our first quarter starts out. So by a show of hands, because we're all going to participate, who wants to end the fourth quarter stronger and start the first quarter stronger? Woohoo! We all do, right? So the panel that we put together is 3 agents currently on the Denny Grimes team. They're all at different stages in their career. And between the 3 of them, they have 200 closed sales year to date and 60 million in production. And this doesn't include any other pendings. So I'm honored that they were able to take time away from their business today and their families and help all of us grow. Our first speaker has been with the Denny Grimes team for 10 years. He's having an incredible year with 52 closed sales year to date and 23 million in volume. He's a family man. If we're doing the disc, he's a super high I, and he is a major leader on our team. Please help me welcome Tony Erpenbeck to the call.
Hi, Sunny. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So just to let everybody know, I'm going to ask all the same 4 questions to the speakers, and then afterwards you'll be able to ask each speaker some questions. So first, Tony, what is the #1 objection you are getting right now, and how are you handling it?
Yeah, so just for everybody on the call, I mostly work with sellers. And so pretty much #1 objection I'm handling right now is not so much what they're going to get for the price, it's where am I going next? I think it always comes down to the questions and asking the clients and finding out what's really going to motivate them. Is it truly they next as the problem, or is it the price? You know, dig a little deeper in that. Like, so if I get you X number of dollars, and is a lot of money, they'll figure it out. Whether it be
Tony, real quick,
Yep,
am I the
yep.
only one that's having a problem hearing him, or should I go to a different speaker and have him get to a place where we can hear him? Can everybody hear him or no?
Go to a different speaker,
no?
please.
Okay. Hey, Tony, is there somewhere you can get where, because it's breaking up really bad?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me better right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. All right, no worries.
I stopped driving. Yeah, forgive me. I stopped driving. So hopefully where I'm parked is in a good spot now to be able to talk.
I know he's on his way to a listing appointment, so he's doing this in between. So thank you.
No, it's fine. But again, it's kind of laying out the groundwork. I mean, I don't know how it is in everybody else's market, but for here, the price is not the issue for people. A lot of times we're able to get them a lot more money than they're even anticipating. But it's kind of setting the tone for what they can do next. I'll give you a great example. So recently just had a client where they basically told me that if they could get X number of dollars, that they would go and they would figure it out. They were hoping to do new construction. They were like, listen, if you could sell my house for $599, I will figure it out. I will move tomorrow. We're building a new home. It's be ready in less than a year. Ideally, we would stay in the current house, but if we can get at least 600,000, we'll do that. And so we ended up putting it on the market, and 48 hours later, we had the best offer at 625,000, so 25,000 over the list price, and we negotiated a lease back until the new house was going to be finished 9 months from now for free. So those clients are currently sitting there for free. You're
telling me that the sellers are now able to stay in their home for 6 months, you said?
9 months.
9 months for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think for a lot of sellers out there, they don't even think about that possibility as far as a lease back. I think we, at least for me personally, in the past, I did it every now and then, but I would say at least every other, if not every single transaction I've done this year has had some sort of a lease back, whether it be 2 or 3 days or a month or over a year. And majority of buyers are open to it because, at least in our area, inventory is so scarce that buyers are pretty much willing to do whatever they can to just get the house.
Awesome.
So again, going back to the objection handling, again, it comes down to finding out the questions, asking the right questions, digging down deep to figure out what is truly their motivation. I was just on one yesterday, real quick, another great example where they wanted to build new construction, but that we ended up finding out that wasn't even the real motivator. It wasn't price. It wasn't the new construction. It was actually the fact that they had some personal things and they weren't even sure if they were going to qualify. And so instead of them just wondering, we immediately got them in touch with the lender that we regularly work with, got them pre-approved. And now one of our buyer's agents is taking them this week to go look at the spec homes and hopefully going to sign them on that. And then as soon as they get that contract, we're going to list their house. And we told them we'll just negotiate a lease back until the new one is done.
That's an awesome story. So let me ask you this. I know that you're, 52 transactions into this year. Are you seeing any shifts in the market? And if so, what are they?
Yeah. Well, as Denny, the market expert here, at least in our market, we've definitely seen sales trending down. Sunny and I were just laughing about the fact that even though I just told her walking out the door that sales are slowing, and then she reminded me that I just put 5 listings under contract over the weekend. So yes, as a whole, the market is slowing. But what I tell sellers right now is the fact that imagine you're in a car driving 200 miles an hour and you just slowed down to 100 miles an hour. You're still driving pretty dang quick, but it's not 200 miles, right? And that's kind of the best way to describe our market right now, where 3-4 months ago, we were used to seeing 20, 30, 40 offers coming on every single home that we put on the market. Now we're kind of slowing down to a more traditional market where it might only be 1 offer, or it might be 2 or 3 offers that are coming on. So it's still all about price. If you price the house right, it's going to sell almost immediately. But it is becoming more of a traditional market for us here.
Okay. And what was the one thing that you had to implement this year to have such a successful year?
On the listing side, other than just doing a much better job with follow-up and prospecting, the biggest thing that I really kind of noticed I had to do differently was my preparation for listing appointments. We here in Southwest Florida have mostly communities with HOAs, gated communities. And so in the past, it was just very simply pull up the sales in the neighborhood, right? Very simple. Here's the sales. They're all cookie cutter homes. This is what it's going to go for. Well, now, because the fact that there is basically almost no inventory, and a lot of times there's very little comps in the community when you look into it, you have to go outside of the community now. And it's kind of funny because Sunny and I laugh all the time when agents call in the office and say that the comps, I don't see the comps to support this price. And my answer to that is, well, since when in this market do comps matter? Comps don't support, comps are not market value in this crazy market. And at least for us,
Can you
anyway.
say that one more time? I want to make sure everybody caught that.
Comps are not market value. And when somebody says, well, what is market value? It's what a buyer's willing to pay. And what we're finding is let me just do it this way. We just had a house this week, $1.5 million, put it on the market, pull it up the community. There hasn't been a single closed sale over 1.2. Okay. But there's also nothing active. And I actually looked in the entire city to see if there was anything similar to that floor plan. House is only 3 years old. Big builder, Pulte. Pulte is a huge builder here in town. And I looked all around town trying to see what were the prices that they were listing in every other community around. And even though there hadn't been a sale over 1.2, I found one right down the road. We'll just say it's a nicer community for 1.7 that just sold. So we threw it up for 1.5, more than 300,000, higher than the exact same floor plan that's gone, and we put it under contract in less than a week. And for more, almost $200,000 more than the highest sale we've seen all year in that community. So be a little bit more kind of diligent. You have to just do a little bit more research, not so much on the close side, more so on the active side. You know, when you are pulling up a specific home, especially if it's a newer home, for us down here, everybody wants new. Everyone wants something updated. And so look to see if you have a pool home that's out there, and like in our area, pools are, everyone dreams to have a pool. And right now there's nothing active with a pool. So if all of a sudden you're gonna be the least expensive house with a pool, regardless of the size or whatever, it's probably gonna sell.
So what I hear you saying is when you're doing the comparables, you don't necessarily have to look at the closed. What you're saying is look at the actives, meaning if you're in that $1 million range, what else can you get in the entire city for $1 million, correct?
Yep, exactly right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one last question. What is the one thing you will have to implement into your business for next year in order to stay on track or grow your business?
Well, my growth plan is always improving and getting better on follow-ups, especially in this crazy market where neighbors are helping people sell their own home. And it seems to be sometimes homes are selling before we even have the chance to meet the clients. So follow-ups are huge, but the number one thing that I'm implementing is farming. And I'm going to be moving into a new community myself here this next year, into a luxury community. And so I'm going to be doubling down on farming that community. And I think that everybody needs to do that because this market is not going to last forever. And so even if the shift, which we're starting to see happen, but even if it happens tomorrow or next month or next year, you're ready for it. And by farming, that can really help you to survive.
So I just want to go back to your follow-up. So specifically when you're talking about follow-up, who are you following up with?
Well, for me, obviously I have the advantage of having a database built over 10 years. So for me, it's staying in touch with my past clients and the database, which is just for anything from sellers I worked with in the past that took their homes off the market because they couldn't get a specific price. Staying in touch with past leads that came in that never came to fruition, and just my sphere of influence.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for your growth. I'm really proud of you. The team's proud of you. Thank you for adding value to our businesses and our lives today. I do have a couple questions. I have some that are typed, and then we have a couple minutes for anyone that wants to come off mic and ask him a question. The first one, I don't know, James. I don't know if he's going to know the answer, but I'll try it. On a no-fee leaseback, is it all cash in Arizona? Our understanding is that if it is a finance purchase, they can only get 60 days max leaseback.
I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but that might only be the case if it's more of one of the government loans like FHA, which you're signing off for primary residency. I don't know if that's the case for every conventional loan or if that's something specific in that case. Yes, to answer their question, most of the time it is cash that does happen for. But I mean, we all know there's always ways around stuff. Even if it is technically supposed to be 60 days, right? That could definitely be your intention. And that's what you're signing at closing is your intention to be leasing for 60 days. But if all of a sudden it came to day 59 and somebody needed another month, there's no conversation with the lender at that point. It's just, but that's between the owner and the tenant if they're going to extend it past the 60 days.
Okay. And then we have a question about farming. So what are your top 3 plans in farming?
Well, for us down here, at least the community that I'm going into specifically, is heavily amenitized, and meaning it has, like resort pool and restaurants and a lot of active like tennis and a lot of different sportings, boating, all that kind of stuff. So it's number one first is getting not only myself, but my wife. I'm going to have my wife be a huge advocate for me. But it's getting heavily evolved in the community. That means going to the HOA meetings. That means joining the specific clubs that I like that are in there. Maybe one that I don't like as much, but it's just one that's very popular and has a lot of people. Then, of course, that's the prospecting, like circle prospecting, we would call it. But it's calling around with new listings, whether it's my listing or not. Hey, did you see this new listing that just hit the market? Who do you know? Right? Postcards, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Who wants to come off mic if they have a question for Tony? We have 2 more minutes for Tony. All right, Tony, thank you so much for today. I know you're on your way to a listing appointment. You pulled over for us. Have an awesome day. And good luck with all your goals.
Thank you.
Wait, Sonny, I have a question for Tony.
Okay, Gio.
Tony, so how do you approach, you know, you probably don't do much of a cold call still in these days, but you know how their first answer is no. Most of the time they hang up the phone or they stay, but they are not as friendly as or the sphere of influence could be with us or past clients. So what would be your approach? How do you break the ice with them?
Right. So are we calling like an expired? Is that what you're talking about?
Let's say people that were interested in selling at some point this year.
Right. So it's gonna be somebody I've never spoken to before, I'm going to assume. Correct. Because if it's somebody you've spoken to before, they're probably going to be a little bit nicer to you when they pick up the phone. So if you're calling an expired, at least for me, when I always did it, I never did it so much as I want an appointment to come list your home. I was just kept trying to figure out a way just to get in the door. Hey, I'm going to be in your area. I have an appointment right down the road and I see your house was for sale. Are you still looking to sell? Yeah, whatever, but I'm not listing with an agent. Okay, great. I'm not looking to list your house. I wanted to stop by, meet you, give you my card. And if I have somebody that might be interested, would it be able to be possible for me to bring them by to see the house? And normally they're going to say yes in that circumstance. And again, I always will get kind of creative with it. And it's just, I'm going to stop by. I'm just going to give you my business card. Is that okay? Right? Is it once you're there, you're like, hey, well, while I'm here, can I just come in really quick just to take a quick peek at the house? Right? Have fun with it. I think people get so boggled down on the nose or people hanging up on them. I also tended to do better when I wasn't calling the house that expired today, but maybe expired 5 days ago or 7 days ago, just because everybody typically gave up after day 2 or 3. So after like a week of it being expired, I was like the only one calling, and I kind of had a better success ratio of getting through to people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. I want to make sure that we stay on track. So we're going to go to the next speaker. Our second speaker is so close to doing 100 closed transactions year to date. She's currently at 93 closed transactions. She has been full-time for 6 years. She's a family woman. She has 3 children. She's a huge leader in our company, and she has a $1 million smile. Please help me welcome Morgan Grimes. Morgan, are you there?
Hi there.
We're looking for that $1 million smile. Woohoo! There she is. So Morgan, I'm going to ask you the same questions, and I'm going to start with, what is the #1 objection? And by the way, congratulations on all your success this year. We're really proud of you. What is your #1 objection that you're getting right now, and how are you handling it?
That my hair is better than Tony.
Your hair is better than Tony, correct. But you're freezing.
That's debatable, Morgan.
Yeah, you're freezing.
I'm trying, I have Xfinity apparently working. So can you see me better now?
Yeah, but I think you're still freezing. Let's see. Let's give her a minute.
I thought I had a good spot.
All right, that's better. I can
Okay.
actually see you moving. All right. So what's the number one objection you're getting right now? And how are you handling it?
Basically, I would say the number one, I mean, Tony hit the nail on the head with leasebacks and sellers wanting somewhere to go. But I would also say, you know, we're seeing a lot of, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe to be different from Tony's conversation, claims with insurance companies after, you know, storms with our market. You know, I'm having a lot of struggles that I'm helping, you know, sellers go through, that they can sell their home still with a death in the family and a trust and probate. You know, our market's saturated with a lot of that. And so that's kind of been a majority of my business this year, is helping people get through happy, but also a not happy transaction.
Is there one particular transaction and like a story that goes with that they might be able to learn from?
Yes. You know, we just, I just listed one that was almost into foreclosure, and we kept it out of foreclosure, and we sold it at a profit to where it would go back towards the widow, and she was able to buy something and move on with her life. And then she thought she just had to walk away from her home, and, you know, again, she didn't pay her mortgage for almost a year. So
Okay,
again, I mean,
yeah, I know you're going to get a lot of questions from that one. So are you seeing any shifts in the market? And if so, what?
I was, and then it kind of bounced back a little bit recently. So again, I think it's all about, you know, there's homes on the market that are sitting, there's homes on the market that are not sitting. It's, in my professional opinion, way that you market the home, the way we, you know, you take the time on, just like a Ruth Chris or a famous steakhouse. I mean, this is the most important asset. So when you rush it, you could hurt the listing. So again, I love the process that we have. It takes our time, and the photography is amazing. The description's compelling, and that's what captures the most buyers.
What was the one thing that you had to implement this year to have such a successful year?
You know, I would say that I didn't, if I didn't have the team, if I didn't have Chelsea, I didn't have, you know, our listing coordinator, our launch coordinator, our closing coordinator, I couldn't do what I do. And of course, if I didn't have you.
Right. All right. So expand on that for people that are not on a team or that don't have those resources, how that looks for somebody that, I think you are about 90 closed listings, correct? Pretty close to that. 93 closed listings. So what does that look like as a listing agent, those resources for you?
Well, again, I mean, it's, what is your 80-20? I mean, my focus is going on appointments and getting listing agreements signed, and then my team does the rest. And so again, that's where I can do 4 to 5. My max is right now about 4 listing appointments a day. Anything more than that, it's just too much for me to handle, my brain wise. I have to have I have to be somewhat sane when I come home with my family. But 4 listing appointments a day is my max.
Okay. What is the one thing you will have to implement into your business for next year in order to stay on track or double your business next year? 200 listings.
Well, Monica Reynolds is my coach. And so I'm working on hiring a virtual assistant to follow up on my listings that I went on, but they weren't ready to list, or maybe I didn't get the listing. I keep all my files, and what's interesting, I just took a listing last week from 2018. I went on the appointment, and I keep everything. So they call me back. I have all the notes. I know exactly the house. When they call me, oh, I remember your dog's name, Cooper. You have this house, and they were so impressed that I had all the notes 3 years ago. I mean, I keep everything, and I have them all organized by year.
So what, for any of the agents that heard that you're going to hire a virtual assistant to follow up with appointments that you've gone on, explain a little bit in detail what that's going to look like.
So Upwork is where I'm looking in right now, and you can hire someone for $9, $10 an hour. And they have to, it can be part-time, it could be a few hours, it could be different time zones. So when you're sleeping, they're calling, it could be whatever you want, but it's Upwork. And that's kind of where my coach has been asking me to look into, and that's my goal for 2022.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So who has questions for Morgan? You can either type them in or you can come off. I think somebody's trying to say something. No one has any questions for somebody that did 100, is going to do 100 closings on listings? Come on, guys.
I do.
Okay, good.
This is Sherry in Reno. I have a quick question for you. When you're saying you're hiring a virtual assistant, what exactly, when you're saying they're making calls, will they be doing for you? Are they going to be setting appointments? Are they already pre-qualified leads? I'm really curious about how you are implementing them.
It's really whatever you direct them to want to do for you. For my business, it's the calls that I get that they are not answering their phone, and I reach out once or twice, and then I'm on to my next 10 listing appointments for the week, and then it varies, and then I'm not very good at following up after it gets buried. Does that make sense?
So they're a contact that you've spoken to prior, and you're just doing follow-up with them? Is that what I'm understanding?
Or they've reached out to us on the internet, or a lead that we never made contact with, and then once they make contact, then they will put it on my calendar to meet.
Okay, fantastic. I can see that would be incredible, because they're not getting lost.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said that you have maybe 4 or 5 appointments max, listing appointments during the day. How much time you spend on lead generation in a daily basis?
Well, again, I farm a community, and so there's not a lot of cold calls that I do. A lot of my business is generated from, again, being in this community for my father's been in this community for 38 years. I've grown up here for 27 years. So again, it's going back to farming. Cold calls can be beneficial, but also farming is amazing. It takes time. It's not as quick as a reward as cold calling. So, Tony and I both focus on farming because we've been in the business now for over 10 years. So, to answer your question, from nine to, I don't take any appointments from 9 until 11 o'clock in the morning, and all my appointments are after 11.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions that they want to ask? I think, let's see. I've heard a lot of not so successful experiences. Let me see. with virtual assistants, especially if they are not in the US and many in the US? How do you vet applicants in this process?
I would just encourage them to research Upwork and let them see that there's a lot of virtual assistants and they're in the US, and you can make sure they're in your same time zone. So again, I don't want to go into too much, but just have them research Upwork.
And Pam, you can interview them yourself. So a lot of those, they will have all the applicants on a call. You can interview them 2 and 3 times. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so we have a couple more minutes if
I have a question.
One in the chat, Sonny.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brenda.
I was saying there's one in the chat. Someone asked what a CRM you use and how you organize notes.
Perfect.
I don't normally do a CMR because again, that's, in my opinion, that's past data. I come in with, I research it, but I come in with knowledge of what is the expectation, motivation of the person across the table from me. So again, I don't want to come with opinion of value. I want to come with opinion on how I can help them.
I think they were talking about Morgan.
Yeah.
Using Brevity, I think is what they were asking.
So what CRM are you using and how do you organize your notes?
Brevity is our CRM, and then my notes is old fashioned. I wish I could show you a picture of my office. I have at least 300 blue folders of things stapled of the tax records of every listing appointment I've been on that I did not get or they weren't ready. And I will never throw away because you never know. And then they all go into Brevity as follow-up. But if they call me, then I have all my detailed notes that I can go back and say, I remember your dog, Skippy, and your kids, and how are your kids doing? Do they graduate school? You know, you're a Bucks fan or you're whatever.
We have another question. Let me scroll back up. What do you wish you learned early in your career that you only realized years later?
Oh boy. That I should have started real estate sooner. I was in the restaurant business for 4 years at Mimi's Cafe, and they run me 72 hours, 80 hours a week. I ran the kitchen, and making, you know, $40,000 a year. And then my first year in business and real estate, well, when I came back in 2015, I made that. And then now I'm going to be making almost 250, 300,000 this year.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Does anyone else have any questions? I thought I just heard one before we move on.
Yeah, quick question on Morgan. How do you manage 5,000 doors? How many touches are you talking, and how do you kind of keep it fresh with that many doors trying to manage?
Yeah, our farm community is one that we've grown into. So if you want to start farming, you want to keep it a little bit smaller to start. So again, we do our biggest passion's events. Our pie day, I mean, we just launched it. We already have over 200 pies that have been RSVP'd. That's my favorite event. And then we have breakfast with Santa. So Santa comes. We have Easter Bunny. I mean, we just have events, and it gets people involved. It gets them registered, and that gets what? Our information. They're engaged. So when they get stuff from us, they don't say, "Oh, it's just another realtor." No, we are coming from contribution.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Gio, go ahead.
Question. And I know, Gio, I answered your question here. So what is the best advice for a new agent like me?
I can't hear.
Advice for any new agent like her.
Basically, learn the scripts and focus on one part of a business that you can generate as open house, or if it's cold calling, or if it's knocking on doors, something that is you're passionate about, and don't stop. Give it 6 months to a year. 1 month is not enough time for any results. You got to keep it up and be the expert in that field. Don't be the squirrel that goes after all the stuff that everyone's saying, and then you're not good at anything.
Mic drop.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? All right, thank you so much, Morgan.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We can't wait till you get to 100. We're gonna have a big celebration.
Yeah, and then I just gotta show. Here's my little puppy. All right, I gotta go to a listing appointment.
All right, have a great day. All right, we have one more speaker. So our last speaker has been full-time for 1.5 years. Currently, she has 8 million in volume closed and 38 transactions closed year to date. She's on track to close 13 million. So in 1.5 years, I want you to think about that. She started right during COVID, March of last year. She's got a heart of gold. She's a mom, she's a grandma, she's a wife, and she's always willing to help and come from contribution with pretty much everyone she meets. Please help me welcome Brenda Martin. Brenda, can you hear us?
I sure can. Thank you, Sunny.
All right, so same questions. What is the #1 objection you're getting right now, and how are you handling it?
Okay, well, not to sound like a broken record, but I would definitely have to say that the #1 objection that I'm hearing now is, if I sell my home, where am I going to go? But yet these guys are golden sellers because they're ideal for situations like the buyer from Ohio who would need to liquidate their business and sell a home there before they're ready to move here, or even an investor who's just looking to pick up a few extra bucks for a couple of months. So that makes them great sellers. And I guess when I'm given the objection, I just would do like Tony said and ask and dig deeper and deeper. But basically the simplest question is, what if we can find a buyer that would allow you to stay in the home while we're, your home's being built, or while we're looking for you a new home, or whatever their particular situation might be. And then, of course, I would definitely share a story with them about the several clients that we've had here on our team that we have been successful at placing lease specs.
Can you give us a situation? And let me ask you a question. Do you mainly work with buyers or sellers or both?
Actually, originally when I started on the team, I was a buyer's agent, but I'm about even when it comes to buyers and sellers now.
Okay. So what's your favorite story that you can share with us with the objection handling that you just gave us that might bring value?
Well, actually, I have a client who personally is building a new home, and we are putting together a deal to where they are going to allow them to stay in their home until the end of July of next year, again, for free.
That's awesome. And I know about this transaction. So that was really, at the end of the day, they had lots of objections, correct? I mean, they were putting their foot in the sand for a long time. And finally, by asking questions, you were able to figure out that they were just petrified to sign any contract.
Yep, absolutely.
And so when you actually got a buyer that said they could stay till July is when the music started for them, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Great, awesome. So are you seeing any shifts in the market? Let's go on the buy side a little bit, because we've heard from 2 listing agents on the buy side in the market. And if so, what are the shifts that you're seeing?
Well, again, everybody's market's different. And as Tony and Morgan both said, in our market here, sales have been down for the past 3 months, but yet overall, they're still up from 2019. It's a very strong market here. It's a winner's market for both buyers and sellers. Prices are still up, multiple offers are still being received, and homes are still selling over asking. On the buyer side, obviously, the interest rates are still low. They're coming out with several different loan programs that they're able to obtain. And I think it's just a overall winner's market for both buyers and sellers.
Fantastic. So what was the one thing you had to implement this year to have such a successful year?
Okay, I'd say the one thing that contributed most to my success this year was the follow-up and actually doing the database. Like Morgan said, there are several different ways to lead gen, and I think you just need to find what works for you and keep doing it. And being part of this team has made it very, very easy for me to do the database, like Morgan said, with the events that we offer. I have a story for that as well. We did a reverse bold where you had to get 100 people to call you in a day as opposed to you calling them. And we gave away a trip to Cabo, or they could opt for a cash payout instead. And my clients won.
Woohoo! They took the payout. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know what a reverse bold is, can you tell them how important that was to your business and why being able to contact your database with something different was so important?
Yeah, for sure. So again, you know, coming from contribution, it's not so awkward to make the calls. And then, you know, when you're able to give them something that they're excited about, I was able to actually get over 100. I think I had 130 people call me that day. And I was on top of my clients winning. I was able to get 2 referrals from the day as well.
That's awesome. And then you also have Pi Day coming up, which Morgan said was one of her favorite events. It's also probably one of yours. I know that you got a lot of referrals last year.
Yep, I have a goal to get 50 referrals from Pi Day and another 50 from Santa Claus coming in December.
So I hope everybody caught that because that's a real golden nugget. So we have a holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, and it's real easy. We're doing a Pi Day, and you call up your center of influence or your database, and you say, hey, you know, this is Brenda with the Denny Grimes team, and I'm just calling to invite you to our Thanksgiving Pi Day. Do you want apple or pumpkin? And then from that, I want you to hear what she just said. She wants to get, her goal is 50 referrals from that event. How many of you want 50 referrals to add in the 4th quarter to your database? Like, that's awesome. Woo! We all do, right? Thank you for sharing that, Brenda. That's awesome. So I know you've like quadrupled your business in the past year and a half. So what is the one thing you're going to have to implement into your business for next year in order to stay on track or grow?
So Morgan didn't know what the answer to my question was going to be, but she hit the nail on the head when she started talking about squirrels. So again, you mentioned that one thing with me is, what about this? What about that? And for those of you that know me, you know that focus is my biggest weakness. So lack of focus causes me to be able to complete several tasks in a certain time frame, and it makes me feel accomplished, yet I don't actually achieve the goal that I set out to work on sometime. So after being recommended to read the 12-week year, I've decided for 2022 that I've broken down my one thing goals into smaller, shorter goals to achieve the same huge dream.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I know you did one for the 4th quarter. Do you want to share that goal? You know, if you make it public, it has to come true.
Right.
You have 32 people that are going to hold you accountable.
Well, I'm already there, but so it was to make $56,025 was what it was. I have, since Sonny and I sat down 3 weeks ago to do that, I have put 4 more pendings under contract. So I should be there at my goal already.
Oh, so we have to do it again. We got to do it again.
As I said, we'll do it again.
Interesting. I have to tell you, I sat down with Brenda a couple weeks ago and her goal was a lot less, actually. And we just decided to go for a bigger number, something that was going to let her meet her goals. She had bigger goals and she put them down there and she challenged herself. So in 3 weeks, she's increased her volume dramatically, which has helped her with that, right, Brenda?
Yes.
And really just getting focused on her one thing. She talks about her one thing a lot, and I think daily, would you say that now you're focused on getting the things done, your priorities and your strategies to get you to that one thing?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I know there's some newer agents on here, and maybe not so new agents that might have questions for Brenda. Now's the time. It says you are part of a team. Are you being given leads? Oh, and where do they come from?
So yes, we are given leads when we do floor time. They come from several different places, Zillow, Set Schedule, you know, just Denny in general. Denny's been in business here for 40 years now, so pretty much everyone knows him. He's endorsed by Barbara Corcoran. He's on our local news. So just leads that come into the office, phone calls, things like that.
Barb wants to know, how did you get your last 3 listings?
My last 3 listings actually were from, 2 of the 3 were from, I joined the, apologize, I can't think of it right now, but it's the lighter side of real estate. And they put you on a Facebook page. It's called the Inner Circle. And I got 2 referrals from there to list properties. And the 3rd one is just a builder that I work closely with who built another house and ready to list.
And that was part of your sphere of influence, correct?
Yes.
Your space?
Yes.
Awesome. Can you please walk us through one of your events like your Pi Day?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So for Pi Day, we started a couple of weeks ago. Our back office support is great. So they make flyers for us, send us emails, PDFs that we can upload, things that we can share physically and virtually. And we just start then making phone calls and just reaching out to everyone that we can. And we get the total number of, you know, obviously how many pies we got to order. Then they bring in a refrigeration truck and everything. You have them brought to the office. And then from any time from 9 to 6 on Tuesday, the 23rd, they can stop in at either our Fort Myers location or Naples and pick up a pie. And as we bring them through the office, if they can give us any type of referral, we add little extra gifts such as a bottle of wine or a $10 gift card to a restaurant or something like that to get referrals as they're leaving.
I think I saw, is Kristi still on the call from Alaska? You could also,
Yeah, I'm gonna pick on her. I told her to pick on her.
Oh, stop.
So Kristi, not everybody knows that
My
we have
sister-in-law.
It's Morgan's sister-in-law. We have a friendly competition. She is doing incredible things in Alaska right now. But we have a friendly competition with her for Pi Day. They beat us last year. How many referrals did you get, Kristi?
I think we were at about 100 last year, if I remember right.
So 100 referrals out of an event. What was your secret sauce?
Our secret sauce was just intentionality around it. So it wasn't just asking for referrals the day of Pi Day. It was preparing clients in advance that we wanted them to be prepared to give us referrals. So when we start calling, you know, we start 6 to 7 weeks ahead of the actual date of the event. And we kind of added a little incentivization to the referral. So we just let them know that, hey, in addition to a pie, if you bring a referral or you give us a referral prior to the event, you're going to get an extra, you know, Amazon gift card or bottle of wine when you show up. We've got it all set out because then when people show up too, they see it displayed and they say, well, how do I get that? And I think it cost us $500 additional last year to do that. And it was obviously, we returned it in multiples with the amount of referrals we got. But intentionality around it, you don't just wait till the day of, you don't just hand them their pie. It's just when you're making those calls up until the date of the event, you're really preparing them to have that mindset to show up with a referral for us. How can they help our team this year?
Yep. And congratulations on all your success. We're hoping you do that well this year too, but we're hoping this year that we might be on top this year. We're gonna have to give each other the numbers.
Well, bring it on. I love competition. What's your goal for your referrals this year?
Well, I'll
We're
get
not
back
telling you. We're not telling you.
All right.
Game
Does
on.
anyone have?
Wait.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay.
Yes, Sonny, there's some chats. Yes, everybody registers for a pie. So they have to register. And Sonny, maybe you can send out our marketing piece to everyone that's on the call so they can see what it looks like.
Yeah, and I think she's
And
asking.
I think the other question was,
How much the Amazon? Oh, you can do $10 for the gift cards. So do a $10 bottle of wine or a $10 gift card. Or you could do like a restaurant that you know is local that people love. How much is that? What you did, Kristi, was $10 for the Amazon gift cards?
Yes, on average. Yep.
Now, Sunny, I have a question. I was asking, when we call people to let them know about Pi Day, and I know that they have to register, but can we register them, or do we have to send them the link to register themselves?
You can register them. At least we do. When I call people, I register for them. They get an email. I just make sure, and then that way it helps our database. So I can clean up our database as well. I don't know. Is that what you guys do, Kristi?
So I was just going to comment on that. I'm not sure if your link is, your registration is the same as ours, but in our registration link, it actually asks if they know anybody looking to buy or sell, or if they're curious about their home's value in this market. So we actually try to not sign them up because we really want them to fill that answer out ahead of time.
Okay.
Well, that was a golden nugget. All right. We're going to get some more referrals. Thanks, Kristi.
Dude, I should have kept it to myself.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm still challenging you, Kristi. Don't worry.
I have a question.
Get to pick. Oh, go ahead.
Hi, sorry. How do you guys handle people who you may not know personally that sign up for Pi Day and you're like, okay, this is your opportunity to essentially get in front of these sellers that you may have been in touch with for a while?
I'll let Morgan, Kristi, or Brenda answer that.
So again, I'm not quite sure what you're, so they're coming into the door to pick up a pie.
Sorry, I know it's typically past clients in your sphere. However, like Facebook links, stuff like that. I'm targeting some of these people I've talked to for a long time too, just to get them in the door to meet them face to face. But if you can't put a face with a name when they arrive, so you don't make it awkward, do you just say, hey, what's your name? And check their name off? Or
I can comment on that. I might break up, but we have a registration list when they come in, and trust me, after several years of doing this, I'm horrible with names, horrible, even for clients that I've had for years. So we ask them like it's our admin's job to say, oh, hey, we need to make sure you're on the list. What's your name? And so then I'll be listening for it. And it could be even somebody that maybe I don't even know well, but that's where, the forward conversation can come in. It's like, how's your family? Talk about their business. How's their business been this last year? How are they being affected? I mean, there's several topics I think that you can discuss to ask that. I mean, if you ask anybody about their family or business this last year, they're going to have a lot to say, or even what they're going to do for Thanksgiving this year. Are they going to get to be with family? And I have those conversations with people that I honestly don't know all the time on that day. It's just connecting. You just want to connect with somebody. That's the goal.
Does that answer it, Whitney?
Yes, thank you. I guess
You're
if I'm not running like a big team, I'm basically the only one in San Diego, and I'm partnering with my lender to do this Pi Day. So it's going to be her clients and my clients coming in. So do you recommend just bringing someone in as essentially the front desk person to check people in, where then we don't have to essentially ask them their name, but as long as we're standing right there, we know who it is?
Well, again, here's the thing. What is the goal of Pi Day?
To talk to people. Oh, actually, I lied and get referrals or more business.
So
Right.
again, just focus on the goal, and it all, and again, it will grow.
Hey, Whitney, I didn't realize that was you asking the question. I know you're solo over there in San Diego. I think you could definitely utilize your lender partner, but it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the thing. Like I've been embarrassed before where I literally asked a past client their name and I didn't recognize them. Just own it and move on and have a great conversation.
Thank you, guys.
You're going to have so much fun. Just have fun with it too. You're going to have a blast. People are so happy. You're giving them an apple or a pumpkin pie and possibly a gift card. So have fun with it.
Her Facebook post makes it look like she's already having fun.
I know. And by the way, the color looks amazing on you, Whitney.
Thanks, guys. Hope to see you soon.
See you soon. Do we have any other questions? We still have like 2 or 3 minutes. Do we have any other questions from anyone? Now's your time. No other questions? All right, so here's how I'm going to end the call. We do have a special, first of all, I want to thank all the speakers. And thank you, Kristi, for doing that for us. I know I kind of called you out there, so thank you so much for participating. Next week, we are going to have a special guest on that does a very high level. I think he's done 75 to 100 transactions just calling expires and for sale by owners. So please make sure you log on to that. We're going to have something else as well, but the main speaker next week is going to be going over for sale by owners and expireds. He's actually going to get on a call and show you how he does it. And then you'll be able to ask him to handle some objections for you. Thank you so much for making today special. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye,
You
everybody.
too.
Goodbye, everyone. Send the registration form. I put my email in there and also the flyer.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cindy. Thank
If
you.
you don't, it's Sunny. If you don't get it, I've got your email. I'll make sure that you do. I'll let our VAs know. You're welcome.
Thank you for this, everyone. Bye.
I'll write yours down too, Pam.